Problem 3, the company that you are working for is planning to rent backhoe excavator to work on a new job on the east coast of the US. I assume that Florida. Start in 3 months. Your supervisor asks you to calculate the fuel cost and service costs for average 8-hour working per day for this machine. She give your key data about the excavator and the job. The diesel engines of the excavator has 156 horsepower HP. The loading conditions will be rough since the job is in the mountains. The supervisor will personally set up and monitor the job, which guarantee good job efficiencies. So with that one, basically, this problem asks you to fuel costs and service costs. And with that one, it's all about the operating costs. So the first two items on the operating costs, that is problem 3, is asking the fuel and service. So let's start with here. First, for the fuel costs, we use the table 17.1. It's also available in the final exam reference. And the fuel consumptions for this one is excavator. And in the mountains, rough, so we assume that is severe condition. So if you go to the exam reference, you have here, and with the excavator, and I assume that is severe, then the backhoe, excavator backhoe, so that it will be 0.048, and the unit is gallon per hour per horsepower. So with that one, as you can see here, the fuel consumptions in this case is from that table equal to 0.048 gallon per hours per horsepower HP. And then that is the gallon per hours. We need to know what is the current market fuel. Of course, ideally we forecast start in 3 months. We say what is the diesel cost in 3 months. See the forecast. It's maybe up and down compared to the current market. But let's make life easy. We assume in 3 months the fuel cost the same as today's cost. So if we go to Google, that's what I'm doing. I search diesel cost per gallon near me. So, and then it go AAA. Of course, you can go any other sources. And it shows us the map, including Florida, what it should be. And go back to state gas price average. And go to Florida. Here, for the diesel. So is for Florida diesel column, that is $2.286. $2.286. That's the average. And then with that we can go back to the problems, because current market values is $2.286. Of course, you can per gallon, you can round up this number as well to like $2.30, things like that. And so from that we can find out the fuel cost per day, and this problem gives you 8 hours working days. So with that, how can we find out the fuel cost per day? It will be equal to how many gallons used per hour. So it will be 0.048 gallon per hour per horsepower. How many horsepower? The problem gives us 156 horsepower for this excavator. So you can time 156 horsepower. How many hours per day? It's 8 hours per day. And then how many dollar per gallon? $2.86. Again, you may round up to 30. Then from that we can get the fuel costs per day, and in this case $36.94 per day. And that is the first operating cost, fuel cost for these problems. And the question also asks, what is the service cost? And with the service cost, and in this case, the supervisor will personally set up and monitor the job, which guarantees the good job efficiency. So I assume that is the average conditions. To go to table 17.2, which is available in your final exam reference. If I assume that is average, then service cost factors of percent of hourly fuel cost, if 33% of hourly fuel cost. We already found out the hourly fuel cost, so then we can be able to determine the service cost. So from that one, as you can see, it equal to 33% of the hourly fuel cost, and I assume this one is average condition. Average. Then we can find out the service cost per days. It equal to fuel cost 136.94 per day time 30%. Then we can have the service cost. In this case, it equal to $45.12 per day. So that is the first two component of the operating cost that we learned today, which is the fuel cost and service costs.